break? Is that
Does me sitting like this make me look like an asshole?
No, it definitely doesn't. You look.
Or is the one I learned where it's like this? It's pretty comfy.
I think unless you like flip your legs over your head or something.
Yeah. This is pretty comfy right here, actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it. It's pretty.
I'm trying. I like it.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go do this.
Sick. Well, yeah. Well, what's up, y'all? I'm with Connor from Primal Tyrant. Dude, so how do you pronounce your last name?
It's p.t.b.r.u.i.s.e.r.
Giebler.
Yeah. Think of it as like the Keebler elves, but just like a G.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Sick. Primal Tyrant, I know y'all take like a lot of influence like from Dinosaurs. Is there like a specific franchise or something like that like you kind of lean in towards, or is it just kind of Dinosaurs as a whole?
Mainly as a whole. The band name itself came from just using like Magic the Gathering cards, and just like none of them were called Primal Tyrant, but it was about to be Carnage Tyrant.
Oh, sick.
Because that was like a really cool card. But at the same time, I was kind of, Carnage Tyrant sounds cool, but it's not off the tongue as easy. So I was just like, I just kept throwing around ideas, and I was like, oh, Primal Tyrant.
Yeah.
And it's not even just dinosaurs. We also try to kind of stick to like, just like a savage kind of theme, just like primitive savagery.
Yeah.
Hence like the song like Decree of Savagery. Like, yeah, we try to just kind of keep it all encompassing, because it's kind of like you don't want to like contain yourself to a particular concept too much. You kind of want to be able to expand on it, but yeah, as for the imagery and everything, the physical identity is pretty much all about that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I can kind of tell, like, as far as like the savagery that you're talking about, like, you know, just being brutal and stuff, and also prehistory in general, just being like all around, you know, tumultuous and stuff. So.
Yeah, it's like we always say like caveman riffs and everything, but it's like, okay, how much of caveman can we go into?
Do you think that at one point man and dinosaur walked together, or is that not really possible?
Not like man as we know it, probably.
Yeah.
Probably like some kind of apes were, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But not like, you know, not gonna have like a dude in a tuxedo walking around. Yeah. This dinosaur right here.
That's sick. Dude, so this is something that's been on my mind just kind of like leading up to the interview. And I feel like it's an obvious question, but it's one that I feel adamant about asking. Favorite Jurassic Park?
I mean, so outside of the obvious first one being the best one?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what the answer that I was...
This is also including Jurassic World as well?
You can say Jurassic World.
So we'll go original Jurassic Park, that's S tier. An underrated one, Jurassic Park 3.
Yes.
I mean, I can also sit here and tell you that movie sucks, but like, it is a good suck. Lost World, I see why people like it, but there's a lot of holes in that movie, and that's what makes me not like it. How did the T-Rex get the boat to San Francisco? Like, explain that to me. How did it get the guy, like the captain and the thing, and the whole boat's intact? Just like, it makes no sense. Yeah. It's like, but then like, after, okay, so Jurassic Park 3, then I would probably then go Lost World. Okay. Because, oh, hang on, no, Jurassic Park 3, then the new one, Rebirth. I'll put that one right after that, because that one I actually thoroughly enjoyed of Jurassic World, and everything else is just, it's all just kind of garbage to me.
Well, it's interesting that you say that about Rebirth, because that was one that I still haven't seen yet, but, you know, you even mentioning it, it's better than one of the other ones. Like, I would be kind of considering watching it. So yeah.
I'd probably go watch Primitive War instead.
Oh, dude.
The Vietnam dinosaur one.
Now, did you see that in theaters?
Dude, I saw it on Amazon not too long ago. I wanted to go catch it in theaters. I just kept having to work those days. And
well, it was a very select like theaters that they were showing, and I tried, you know, I was like looking into it, and every day that was, you know, I wanted to see it, nobody else could go see it. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, Ethan, the author of the book, is a big fan of ours.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so we might have something like that in the works, maybe. maybe.
That's really sick that I've noticed about Primal Tyrant is that you guys, for I feel like a relatively newer band, have already gotten like international. There's a lot of eyes I think on you guys, so I just think that that's really really fucking sick. Was that something that you think is kind of more that you putting in maybe some extra legwork as far as making sure that it's online and it's visible?
Yeah, my wallet's empty for a reason. No, so it kind of goes back like to the concept of everything that we do. So a lot of it is, I think people just see the imagery of it and they think it's cool and everything. And then it's weird because I can kind of go into this a little later maybe, but like even when we play shows, I feel like people just see like our merch spread and that kind of stuff, and they're just like, this is sick. And I guess we treat ourselves very professionally, even though we're just a group of idiots. Like we try to keep everything like pretty suit and tie, making the joke earlier about suits and ties, but like we try to kind of keep it that way if we can. But it's kind of like leaning into it, but not too much. It's like also knowing like, hey, we got to have some riffs to back this up.
Sure. You're like aware of it, but at the same time knowing that like, hey, this is something to be able to like have fun, but making sure that it's appropriate for the style of music and stuff. So.
Yeah, it's like being able to kind of like be like yeah, we kind of have this theme, but I mean we're also like we'll make you fight someone. Like yeah, like we got you.
Speaking of, when I saw you guys over there at Growl Records, I thought it was a fucking sick show, and
love playing there.
Yeah, badass for sure. There was a moment where I was noticing the pit. There's dudes that were wearing dinosaur masks. They're looking at my girlfriend, what the fuck's going on? But I had that moment of fear. Even Power Trip, for example, like going to early Power Trip, like that kind of similar fear ensued as far as like, oh fuck, what's going on?
Yeah, like we've had quite a few, especially shout out Chattanooga, Tennessee. We've had some like violent shows. We appeal both to like the hardcore and like death metal crowds, like I think pretty equally. Like we love playing hardcore shows through like COTC and everything. Shout out Robert. So we love doing that shit, and it's kind of like we even had like a post not too long ago where someone asked us where it was like, oh, it's hardcore parading as death metal, and then we're like, I mean, like who cares? Like, dude, it's cool. But it is really crazy how it's just like it all kind of just started popping. Like we started playing hardcore shows, we started playing more death metal shows, and I think we try to keep it like pretty balanced. But we bring in the moshers.
When I saw that firsthand, it was like fucking really really cool to see. That's kind of a nice segue, man, because it does seem sometimes with metal subgenres nowadays, the actual subgenre of the band can sometimes be determined by the fan base. And that being said, it does make me curious.
We're black metal. Raising swords in the air. We have some dungeon synth too.
Yes. I love that meme. It's like, why play a little dungeon synth? I guess my question is like, where do you see metal in the next 5 years? It almost seems like nowadays hardcore and metal are almost one. Is that on that? Or?
Yeah. I would say at least for Texas for sure that is definitely the case. Whether we play in like Austin, San Antonio, or Houston, it's become this thing that we were kind of referred to as like beat down is like the term I hear very often with it, where it's like death metal slam meets hardcore kids kind of thing. And we've played with a lot of those in San Antonio when we played like a little death metal showcase. Shout out Faith and Remission. Like that stuff is so cool. Like, and it's crazy to me because like some of these bands, I mean, I'm 30 now, but like it's like they're so young, and they're like, and I was wondering like, dude, when I was their age, where was this stuff at? Like there was none of this around.
Dude, I can definitely relate. There's times where I feel, I mean, to be honest, like kind of jealous when I see like how the kids have like access to some of that, because I just now in this interview I'm realizing we're the same age.
Yeah.
95?
Yeah.
And it's like weird where me getting into metal 07 or 08, it just was like non-existent as far as me finding this music was solely through the internet. You know? So it's kind of neat that
Metallum archives. Spending hours on there. Well, even then, like in 07, 08, I was still listening to nothing but power metal, like the whole way. Like, yeah. Oh, my Guardian.
He's actually showed me several albums.
It's really weird to think on it because, like, even like in the band, we all come from like such a different kind of background. Where like I come from like power metal and like thrash, and Logan kind of comes from more like hardcore and thrash. Nathan's just like straight like death metal or death and roll, just depends what the day is. Sebastian's from Columbia, is coming from thrash, and then Trent was from like deathcore and hardcore, and so like we kind of like just hear the little drops of everybody's like influence in it together, but yet it still maintains this like kind of like what I would say like kind of savage primitive sound to it.
Totally. It's interesting hearing like all the band members' influences. I do think that, you know, there's times where, you know, like being in an original band when you're trying to write new stuff, it's almost like you're just trying to like come up with like everything that has come before you, if that makes sense, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
so,
you kind of fall into like the trend of like what's kind of going on right now at that time, maybe,
well, maybe not even a trend. I guess what I'm saying is it's like, yeah, you can have like deathcore influences or like death and roll, like two vastly different you know, genres, but like having these like elements come together, like that's going to create like a newer sound, and I think I can hear that in you guys to where it's like that's a cool thing to witness. So.
Yeah, and like we're always like, even when we were doing the EP, we were very much kind of trying to do the like, because the first two, like the EP and the album, I did myself with a couple of friends, like Fabio from Annihilator did the drums, and then my buddy Topias in Finland did the vocals. But as far as like the composition of everything, it was pretty much me.
Yeah.
And so I had to kind of like adapt to having like the other inputs come in, but also trying to maintain like, okay, here's some of the new stuff, but it's still complementary to this stuff. Like trying to keep it consistent and make sure you can evolve, but you gotta do it like subtly and everything, instead of just like hopping right into it kind of thing. That's why like Sebastian, when he came in, was perfect, because it's just, neither of us are really like super flashy like solo guys. We're kind of just like his Fix is a huge influence on us. So we're just like, hey, just have these cool kind of like harmonies and stuff, and that's enough. Yeah. Kind of thing.
Dude, Asphyx is a fucking killer band. I saw them at MDF like 2014, and
dude, I want to see them so bad. I want to see them so bad.
If you get the chance, you'll enjoy it. But yeah, it's funny too. Like mentioning J-Dog earlier, that's one band where he like shits on. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Dude.
What's going on, man?
They have so many parts that hit so fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me you hear MS Bismarck and that like, yeah. Dude, I would be swinging on some nerves. Like,
so groovy.
And that Doom style touch to it also.
Yeah, it is like super doomy for sure. Dude, you had mentioned like Fabio, right, from Annihilator. How did that come to be? Was that just one of those things like that you kind of had your eyes on him for a while trying to do a project? Or?
So there's this wonderful website called Fiverr. Okay, and you can go on there to find like other music. It's like, I knew like a couple of drummers, but I just didn't feel like bothering them. So I messaged him initially because I saw his queue was like super backed up, and so I was like, I messaged him initially, and he's like, oh, I'm just a little booked up right now, and he was about to go on tour with Rhapsody, the power metal band, and now that's one of my favorite bands of all time. Yeah. And so I started just on a whim, just like talking like offhand about Rhapsody and everything, and then we were kind of like texting each other through it, and I had just finished like writing all the guitar parts to the first EP. And I was like, man, like if you're not like super busy when you get back, would you be willing to like do this? And he was like, yeah, man.
Sick.
And yeah, it all just like kind of fell into place that way. And it's super cool because like Trent has been able to like play all those parts and everything, and also be able to add like his own touches to it as well. Totally. Like it's just like it's like a perfect, like almost like seamless like transition to having the actual physical band.
Right. Damn, that's awesome when it like that shit just like lines up and stuff. Our bassist, dude, he turned me on to Annihilator because, truth be told, I was kind of like a virgin to a lot of their catalog until recently. You know, like what's it, Allison Howland's?
Allison Hell. Yeah.
That shit gets
Fuck, it's so hard.
It's nice too because it's like already. I feel like that, like being a piece of metal history that kind of like cements Primal Tyrant's, you know, introduction to, as far as like that being like the first EP and stuff, because that was the first EP, right?
Yeah. He also did on the Saharan Gods album as well. That one was like another situation where it was like the stars having to align because like I wasn't gonna do an album. I was like, oh, here's just like some riffs I had. I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a little thing.
Yeah.
And here we are now.
The album cover for that, because I really admire how that one looks. It's very Dinotopia-esque.
So I don't know his actual real name, but it's at God, I'm gonna screw this up so bad. I'll send it to you, but it's at Nawful. He does a bunch of like, it's funny because, also Fiverr.
I think I might actually recognize by that handle.
Yeah, because he does a lot of album covers.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting at first because he does a lot of like brutal slam album covers where it's like super grotesque, over the top, like gory, and I think that's awesome.
Right.
But I liked the style of it, like the oil painting kind of style of it.
Yeah, dude.
So
it has that blendability.
yeah, so I was like, oh hey man, I get this is like your thing, but this is kind of what I need. And I remember the reference I sent him, I took the Battle of Pelennor Fields from Lord of the Rings. It was like this wide portrait image of it. And then I just photoshopped in like a couple of dinosaurs like on the sides. And I was like, okay, kind of like this. And then I put like pyramids in the background of it. So I was like, this.
Yeah.
And then that became like the album cover. And I was like, nailed it. All right, sick.
Yeah, you fucking knocked it out of the park. That was one that's like, it's immediately eye-catching, and something about having, let's say there's like a war or some kind of battle scene, but if it's taking place during the day, something like the juxtaposition of it being like, you know, pretty and then like brutal, it's like, whoa, like, it was immediately eye-catching to me.
You see like all the different like facial expressions of like each of the guys on there too. Like he did an amazing job. That's why afterwards he did Tar Pit, Scythe Lizard's Harvest, and then he also did the flyer for the tour that Ups and Anubis did. Shout out Anubis. Yeah, so like he did a bunch of art for us. Like we've kind of had this like collection of artists that we go to for like everything, and try to keep most everything to that circle. I would like to think you are in that circle.
Oh, dude, yeah. That was a blast piece for you, man.
Yeah, so yeah, like it's all just, again, kind of like it just says, it's just like, it seems like stars just align sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
And it all just like hits.
That's sick. So I was gonna say, so correct me if I'm wrong, because I know this was a while back. Logan, and then also wasn't Tyler in Crucifix?
Okay, yeah, so Crucifix was Trey from Asylum. Logan was doing the drums. He was also in Silver Tongue Devil for a little bit. Okay. And then there was Dane, the other guitarist, and then Tyler filled in for like a show or two, I'm pretty sure, from Brain Matter and Tribal Gaze.
Yeah.
Dude, it's weird because like I was always kind of like in the behind the scenes of all that stuff too. It's just like I would hang out in the same space and jam songs with them, along with Drew from Zettabyte. Yeah, like dude, those high school days, man, those were. I swear we would spend hours and hours and night after night at Cosmic Rehearsal in Haltom, just jamming out and doing all kinds of shit. Like, oh man, I would like pay anything just to kind of like relive those nights for like one more week or something like that. Like, just give me one more week of doing all that again. That was so much fun. That's what got me into like taking guitar seriously. Just so I could jam with my buds.
The kind of reason why I ask is me being a Dallas cat, like, you know, I would venture out to a rail club and stuff, but just not really being familiar with the geography, a lot of that, like, you know, still kind of piecing together. And of course, now that I'm older and I go out, more often, it's like it makes more sense. But like, I didn't even realize that you guys were like more jamming in Halton or something like that. But just kind of asking about like some of the prehistory there. That's kind of cool to
Yeah, it's weird because like I was just on the phone with Logan on the way up here, and we were kind of like reflecting on stuff like that for a little bit. Like I was kind of like, dude, remember like this was like some of the first CDs we were listening to, like, dude, remember Firewind?
Is that Gus G's band?
The old school like power thrash band.
Oh, okay.
There was probably several Firewinds, but I don't know the members.
I could be getting them mixed up. That's fucking sick. Dude, on the conversation of power metal, Crimson Glory.
I love Crimson Glory. I loved seeing them at Hell's Heroes a couple of years ago. Dude, so like, because I went from Iron Maiden to like Manowar to Blind Guardian to Rhapsody, and then I have this guilty pleasure. I love the cheesy, dorky stuff where it's like Glory Hammer and Windrose and Sabaton and like, I don't know what it is. There's something about just like the simple, catchy melodies. And like some of those bands will have a riff every now and then that kind of like I kind of feel it like in my neck. I'm kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, this is. I was like, this is a really good riff. I was like, dude, if they were playing this live, I'd hit someone. I think it would not be the right crowd for it probably, but like I probably would. That's actually why I love going to those shows sometimes, is because it's like, this will sound kind of douchey. So
no, go for it.
So sometimes like I'll go to those like power metal shows and I'll purposely like mosh way too hard.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's like I might never see Rhapsody ever again. And I was like, if they play at Dawn of Victory, which they did at the very end, I was like, I am just gonna start going side to side and like swinging. Like, funny enough, people will join in, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I don't look like an asshole. Okay, cool.
It just takes like one guy to kind of initiate. Sometimes you gotta be the guy to get the ball.
Yeah, and like I said, some of the best shows I've been to have been like power metal shows. Like the shows where I have like the most. Sometimes it's kind of nice going to a show and not having to mosh or anything. Like it's kind of nice.
Yeah, that was surprisingly enough. Like I was able to see Crimson Glory again. Like, did you know that they were here like 3 weeks ago? I think.
No.
That's the thing, is that I feel like nobody knew. Like,
yeah, it always just feels like sometimes with it. What day was it on?
It was a Sunday.
Okay, that's not bad still, but like, it feels like, dude, if it's not Thursday, Friday, Saturday, here in at least DFW for the most part, like it's so hard to, like, unless you just have like the coolest like headliner ever. But I think what it is that like some of these bands like maybe don't market themselves enough, like they don't put it out there enough that enough people know about it still.
I think that's what it is. Like I literally didn't know until 2 days before it happened. And I feel like that's not the first circumstance. It's been happening more and more where I'm like, oh, what the fuck? Like how did I not? Here's an example, Death to All. Like they played with Gorguts.
I wanted to go to that because I also love Phobophilic, and I ended up just having to work really late that night, and I wanted to go because I hadn't seen Death to All yet, and I was like, dude, I kind of love everything from Spiritual Healing. That's like that's like one of my favorite death metal albums ever. Yeah. And I ended up not getting to go, but I kind of saw like a couple clips. Seemed like it was a good turnout, but I was kind of surprised. Like for Death, there wasn't like much like moshing. It looked like it was kind of hard to see, but
yeah, there was a fair amount of movement, but it was kind of like further in the back. It was all around, I gotta say, like a good show. But yeah, just it's weird whenever these big shows like that. You think that everybody and their mom would know about, and you only find out like the day of. Like that's literally when I found out about that show.
Yeah, like I said, it's a lot of it comes out. It's like when we have a show, which we're gonna have a flyer for our show in January coming out tomorrow. Probably like put it up right here, but
and I can do that.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, it's sick. I put a lot of work on that flyer. So it took me 10 minutes. So yeah, like I feel like we post it all the time. Like we at least once a week. If we're like a couple months out, we'll post it once a week. Yeah. Then when it's like a month away, we'll post it like once a week, and then we'll have some additional post with it. Or I'll sometimes go out of the way to make an additional like promotional clip for it to post. Like I keep trying to create more content for it and keep putting out there. 'Cause it's like because you can't beat the algorithm unless you pay a lot of money. So the only other way to kind of get around it is just keep finding various ways to like share it. Totally. Funny enough though, like we don't really ever post anything like on our Facebook or anything like that, because I reached a point where I was like it's not really worth. Because it's like, you might have 22,000 followers, but this is only going to be seen by like 12 of them, maybe. Yeah. And the interaction and everything was just so much better on like Instagram and stuff. So we still have the Facebook page, but everything's on Instagram at this point.
Does Primal Tyrant have a TikTok?
Nah. Yeah. I'm too old for that stuff. I feel like it's a good idea to do it, but
it could be. It's weird, kind of like dissecting each, like the three-headed monster that is social media, because there's on one hand, I think that Facebook can be good, like if you're like creating an event and you can invite people to it. It does seem to like get traction that way, but I hear you on just making posts, because it literally, I think it's been like studied or something, but it's like what you said, it'll be 12 people.
Yeah,
there's nobody, like the algorithm's not going to push
it. And it sucks because it's like, oh, we have this post on Facebook that has like 12 likes, but on Instagram it has 980 and there's like 15 comments and stuff like that. It's so like up and down with it. And honestly, at the end of the day, I mean, like a piece of advice I would kind of give is like, honestly, sometimes it's worth like paying the money to like boost a post or something like that, because that's how you find like. When we played in Chattanooga, we had some diehard fans come out from Athens, Georgia, and drove all the way to like go see us. And they were like, "Yeah, I remember I saw that." They're like, "I saw this ad or whatever for it," and I was like, "Dude, I did not think like someone there would see that." And then they'd go out of the way to come to our show. Like, it sounds stupid and it sounds totally fake, but I'm like being honest. Like, sometimes the best thing you do is like post about it, and find a variety of ways to post about it. Because if your flyer's black and white, some people are just going to scroll by it because it blends in with just swiping up. So it's kind of, you have to like kind of find out like what it is. Yeah, the timing and everything. You can't do a post at 10 p.m. You want to do it at like 12-ish. I kind of figured out. Yeah,
I think you get the most eyes on it that way. But that is so cool to hear though, because that, whenever you put so much work into something and then like come to find out, it's like, holy shit, when you're talking about that Chattanooga show, I mean, to have people like drive out, I think that's like the fruits of the labor, where you can look back and say like, oh dude, this did, it did pay off.
Yeah, and honestly, it's just kind of cool seeing that like it matters to people, like what you're doing, even though it seems so minor at times, it actually like matters to someone.
It does.
And it's really cool to like have those moments, and through doing that, even if you do a tour and there's not many people that turn up to your shows, you can meet like enough people and promoters in that kind of way of doing it, like we did with the Carnotaurus. Like, we met so many cool people doing that, and kind of got like even more like networking through that. And it's something I advise bands to do, is kind of like to keep doing these like weekend runs where it's just like not going super far, so you can kind of afford to go like in a semicircle around where you live, kind of thing.
With going on tour and stuff, what's the dynamic like? When Primal's on the road, is Nathaniel acting crazy? What's going on? Is he a little wild?
Dude, when he joined, that's another story. But like,
he kind of adds like the Lemmy.
Dude, he is the funniest dude ever. Like, he can say something that's totally not funny, and it cracks me the hell up.
Yeah.
He has like the little, I would call like Nathanisms, or it's like he just has like these little things. Like, I mean, it became a thing for our band to do the "hell yeah, brother," like when we're on stage and stuff, or like we do it all the fucking. We'll pull up to practice and we'll go, let's just not. Like, Sebastian just drove 3 hours to get here. Let's just not, though.
Does he actually live that far?
He's in Tyler.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude's like very committed to his craft. Yeah. Like, he's like a serious like player and everything. And that's kind of what's cool, is that like he'll take it very seriously and everything, and the rest of us are kind of like, this is cool. Love that dude.
It's better that way too. I mean, you can kind of like, if you're not taking it too seriously, there's like less expectations, and then when shit ever does it goes south, it's like whatever. But I love that. That's like one of the best inside jokes I've heard in a long time. Let's just drop.
Let's just drop, dude. Like, it's like if you come up to us and ask if we're dropping, like that will be funny, but we probably won't laugh.
Yeah. It has to be like from the inside.
Yeah, it's like. It was, I guess maybe it would be cool. So it's like, oh, cool, they watched it.
Yeah. Well, what I like is like the idea. It's like Nathaniel's up there. You guys sound check. You know?
Yeah.
And then like somebody suggested it's like,
yeah,
dude,
let's just drop. Yeah. Oh man.
There's one. And this is actually kind of a shitty thing to do, but like an inside joke that I picked up on the first tour I ever went on was with this p.t.b.r.u.i.s.e.r, this power violence band from the West Coast, and. They would do this thing with their bassist Adam, where like if Adam was driving, for some reason he was always the driver. Like they'd be like all the way in the back and be like, "Hey Adam," and so, like he turns down the music, and then like he'd be like, "What?" And then they just.
Dude, like the RV we had, we all kind of like took turns like driving it, so we all kind of get the hang of like driving an RV and everything.
Yeah.
Logan was on it for like 5 minutes and got fucking pulled over by like a state trooper in Oklahoma. This dude was jacked, by the way.
Shit.
And it was just funny. He's like, he ended up getting a warning. We didn't get a ticket or anything, but we were just like, dude, there was just like tornadoes the night before.
Yeah.
All the lightning sounded like, dude, you would thought you were in like a World War I like battlefield. There's like mortars like going off. It's just lightning hitting the ground.
Right.
And so it was like super windy the next day, and it was just so hard to keep that piece of shit RV from Cruise America. I do not advise bands do that. It looks cheap and appealing, just those things were crappy. But
Is Cruise America the brand?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't have the vehicle I reserved, and they wouldn't give me my money back for like at least like because like I reserved like a 30-footer. But then we got to the place, the dude had a 25-footer. It wasn't even like clean. The toilet was like destroyed and everything. But we were like, dude, we gotta get to Oklahoma in like 3 hours. Like we gotta hurry. So we're like, okay, I'll just deal with this when we get back. Oh my God, dude, it was such a pain in the ass. And like, it took a while to like recover from that. But like, it was expensive because like the AC stopped working after the first night too. And this is like in the middle of summer. Yeah. But so like, but thankfully like the breeze from like the windows was kind of enough to keep it like bearable. But
is that this summer or the past summer?
That was
2024.
That was 2023. Okay. That was 2020. That was the Carno Taurus.
Okay. That is brutal, man. Like it kind of reminds me of like the first, from what I've gathered, the stories I hear, like one of the first Pantera tours. Like they got like it was like a Winnebago or something like that. And like when they dropped it back off at the place, like it was already busted, so I don't think they felt bad about it, but it was pretty much like threw the keys. See ya.
Yeah, dude, it was, oh man, it was so bad. And I tried for like weeks and weeks to like dispute and be like, dude, this is crap, we didn't get to blah, 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 blah. And at the end of the day, now looking back on it, it was just a fun little, expensive little memory.
The best way to look at it. Dude, it I did want to pick your brain just like a little bit more about Dinosaurs because, you know, I know that's like a lot of the intentionality of the band and stuff. Favorite prehistoric period? You got, what is it, Cretaceous, Jurassic, Triassic. Okay. What would you say is your favorite period?
A lot of my favorite ones are in the Cretaceous, so I would probably pick that one. Of the Jurassic, there's this like subsect of it called the Tithonian era, hence the Behemoth of Tithonian Seas song, the one you did the art for.
Oh yeah.
Those ones had like Allosaurus and all those like famous like marine reptiles that you see in the movies, like Mosasaur and all that kind of stuff. Like all of those are like kind of more centered around that era, so I kind of like that one too. But I mean, I would always just kind of be a Cretaceous guy. That's when like the carnivores are at their apex. Like that's when they all had huge skulls and stuff like that. Their arms were practically gone because they didn't need them. That one will always kind of like be my favorite. And it's funny because a lot of people ask us too, like if we're ever going to do like Ice Age themed stuff, like and it's kind of like, yeah, but we got like a whole 65 million years of this section to do. And then we got to go back a little further. We'll work our way there. But
that's pretty sick too. It's like, well, dude, we literally have like millions worth of.
Yeah, and then it's funny because it's always kind of like we'll do like the Q&As and everything. It's like I'm the only one in the band that's like knowledgeable of all this stuff. And it was kind of more of like, it's funny because looking back on it, it was kind of just like a dumb idea at the time. Because it was like, I was like, man, like everybody kind of does zombies and, you know, overly brutal serial killer stuff. And I think all that is awesome and cool. And the ones that do it are great at doing it. I was just like, I don't think I'm the one like for this. And I was like, okay, what's something that like I know quite a bit about? And I was like, oh, there's a lot of World War, like war themed bands and stuff. So I was like, my other little obsession was always Dinosaurs. So I was like, okay, I can work with this. Like I can figure something out.
I think it's fucking genius because you've got, you know, I'm sure the same could be said for making, you know, a death metal band centered around a season of years, such as winter. I mean, like Frozen Soul like made it work, you know.
Oh yeah. Like, dude, it's like it. I had to do is kind of like just sit there for a little bit, and like you can make it makes it like honestly, kind of like I said earlier, like people will look at what we have sometimes, and I know it might turn them away. They'll be like, "Oh, Dinosaurs, that's so dumb." But it's like the music is what will pull you back in, if anything, because you'll be like, "Oh yeah." And we notice that at shows, like how we win people over pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because they'll be like the first song, you know, they're like this, and then you hit the breakdown and obelisk, and they kind of go, okay. But by like the third song, like we had a show on that Carnotaurus in Little Rock.
Oh, cool.
We played with Deterioration, Traffic Death, and there's another one I was forgetting. I can't remember who the other one was. I'm so sorry, but
no, you're good.
The
part sounds sick.
So we were playing that one. It was a pretty good turnout at this place called Vino's.
Yeah.
And there was this group of guys. You saw like this like collection of friends or whatever that were coming to the show. They were probably there for Deterioration. We start playing. I swear, like they were like this.
Yeah.
And by the third song, they were literally like swinging at each other, like through our set. And it's just one of those moments you kind of go like, okay, what we're doing is cool.
Yeah.
We just gotta keep the course going. We're cool. We know this now.
Yeah. Just keep pushing the envelope.
Yeah. We get offers from like Wichita quite a few times. We just haven't been able to like make it work. I was always kind of like Kansas. I'm like all this. Yeah, I was like, man, of all places like that. And then I was like, dude, wait, that's where Troglodyte's from. And I was like,
Hatchet's from there.
Yeah. And then this one guy tried to put us on a fest in Detroit, and I was like, you know who we are? Like that's kind of cool.
That's super sick.
And then there was one guy that was trying to put us on at this one in like Oslo like years ago. And I was like, unless he was going to pay for us to fly there, like.
Well, dude, I mean, that's the thing is that like kind of opening those conversations, because from what I can tell, that is how a lot of bands do stuff. I mean, you might have somebody to like hit up, you know, you guys to play, and then if you just say, well, like, you know, what's the situation with plane tickets? I mean, they can hook it all up. You guys just gotta get passports, and then there you go. So,
Yeah. But that requires us to do something, so we're like. Yeah. I was like, man, I'll just find some dude on Fiverr to do it for me.
This whole interview is sponsored by Fiverr.
Yeah.
We've played Wichita, and dude, Doom for Death is a sick band from there. So if you guys ever like want to do something in Wichita, Kansas, I think you all would actually have a really good time. It's not really, I think, the kind of city.
It's like 5 hours, right? It's like a 5 hour-ish drive. Okay.
I wouldn't say it's the best place to like just do a show, but if you're on the road, perfect place like in between.
Yeah, we've been trying for the past like year and a half, really trying to like kind of go out to the West Coast, like try to head out that way, kind of like hit up Vegas and everything.
Yeah.
And it's just like every time we start kind of like laying it out and stuff, it's just like the cost just gets like super difficult. So it's kind of like, okay, unless we get like a guarantee of X at each one, there's, you know, and it just the stars hadn't aligned on that yet. But hopefully soon.
I think in due time, yeah. So what is your favorite dinosaur if you had to pick one?
It's Dinosaurs. It means shark-toothed lizard. That's the skull of the one that's on the original EP. It's on the Saharan Gods album cover, and our mascot Devourer is the skull is essentially based like off that and everything. So that's always kind of been the one.
I was going to ask that too, like what dinosaur was Devo? So.
Yeah, it was a Dinosaur.
Okay.
I fell in love with it from the original. I don't know if you recall this game, the Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. the park building game. Dude, it had the coolest fucking design on there. It was like all black with like these like red kind of like eyebrows to it.
Yeah.
And then it had like these like 3 black scars that like went down its face like on each side. And so the bottom jaw was like kind of gray. So it had this cool contrast.
Yeah.
And its eyes were like green on the inside. And so it was like, it was so cool, and it stuck with me for so long. And every time it would kill something, it was way bloodier and stuff. It was just so perfect. Like, you have to go look at that.
Yeah, that's sick, man. I used to play. I want to say it was for the Game Boy Advance, but they had one. It was a GBA game, and I think it was for Jurassic Park 3. So it wasn't a park building game, but it was just kind of like a story mode. But one of the funnest like dinosaur games I've ever played, though.
Yeah, there was also Warpath, the old fighting one. Like, Dinosaurs was always sick in that one. Its battle stance always looked kind of funny to me, but like, is like that and like Turok were the games I was playing when I was like really young. I was probably way too young to be playing Turok. That game's gory. We've been wanting to do like a Turok like rip T-shirt or whatever for like those who would know kind of thing.
Turok for the 64 or for the later one?
I played on PS2 at a buddy's house. We would play that one in the old Jaws game, where you would like play as the shark, and there was like this. I mean, in hindsight, it was a terrible game, but like it was just fun swimming around and eating people. Like it was like the whole purpose of the game. It was just like, all right, now swim over here and eat this, and it's like. Looking back on it, I was like, that game fucking sucked. But it, like, dude, 7-year-old me was going, whoa!
Yeah, right. I get to be the shark.
Yeah.
I do think that that honestly, like, one of the craziest deaths would be to be eaten by a megalodon. Because like, I imagine that if you were to, because if its jaw size is the size of a car, like hypothetically you do get eaten. I think you would just get like. If it doesn't slice you with its teeth, you'd probably just be digested, like dying in the belly of a whale, so to speak.
Yeah, the part that would suck is like, if that were to happen, I want the teeth to like go through my head and skull, so that way it's like instantaneous. Like I probably don't actually feel it, because if you got like, you know, I guess I said bitten in half, chopped in half by its teeth, and you feel the blood spill from your mouth. Like, and you're just a rotting waste, and that's your destiny. Like that's gonna last longer, and like you're gonna feel that.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I've never been chopped in half, but
for a minute there, I thought you were like literally re-quoting the lyrics to.
Yes. Yes. I was like sitting here trying to think like, how do I say this? I was like.
Growing up, we always thought that like when he says feel the blood spew from your mouth, it almost sounds like he says feed the blue spoon yogurt mousse.
Was that like the Slayer one, Die by the Sword? It's like, my name's Tony, I got some bacon.
Dude, oh Pop and I have never talked about that before. Like, I will bring that
I've heard it so many times.
I've told so many people about that. They're like, wait, what? He says it right there.
Yeah. Dude, real quick, actually one thing I kind of wanted to talk about too.
Yeah.
And I know you know this too. So like, I've been going to shows with Logan and them since as long as I can remember. You were always just at like the most random shows sometimes that I would see you at, and that became clear at Hell's Heroes.
Oh.
Do you remember? It was like right after Watchtower played.
Yes.
And I was like, I kid you not, I was standing there talking to my buddy Dane, and like we were kind of talking about the days, and I was like, yeah, man, we were always moshing with Parker and stuff. And then I mean, not even 10 seconds later, you're walking by. Yeah, I was like, not even 10 seconds. I see you walk by, and I go, no fucking way. Because it's just like, I swear, I've seen you at some of the most random shows sometimes. And I just don't know if you like ever noticed that.
I guess my thing is that like truth be told, a lot of times I'm inebriated. So case in point, that helps. Like I think I feel awful. I feel like I was like bitching at you guys, like be like, oh, my girl and I got into it, and like we're so tight now and stuff. So like Brittany, if you're watching this, I'm sorry about that. She'll know what I'm talking about. But that was just like one of those.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, like, I definitely, especially back in the day, like, I remember seeing you guys, and I just, tried to go to as many shows. I mentioned earlier me being, like, more of a Dallas cat. Like, I made it a point to go out to a lot of those Fort Worth gigs, and you know, even to come to find out, like, a lot of that really isn't my bread and butter. But I was so obsessed with metal, especially in high school, to where I was like, okay, this weekend there's a show at the Rail. Like, I'm gonna catch a ride and go to the shows. And half the time, a lot of those gigs, they'd be like fucking empty, you know. Just to be able to immerse myself and like understand what it is that I was getting into, and you know, understand it from like a show goer's perspective, because you know, there's really no other way to be able to gauge what the scene is unless you go out to shows. So.
That's what it's like. I mean, we went to countless shows. Of course, I kind of ended up going to more like, I guess I'd say like mainstream-ish shows at that time. I was more concerned with seeing Creator than I was local band X or something like that. And now, like, looking back on it, man, I should have been probably going to more of those. But no, I was like, but it's Creator. That's why it's like, kind of like I was saying earlier, it's like, it's so, at least especially when it comes to like Fort Worth, it just really depends like what night it is, who it is, and it's kind of like how well is it actually promoted. Because like what we've come to learn, like from playing, at least in the DFW area, is like we kind of find there's better turnouts like at like the youth, like kind of like hardcore beat down shows. So we try to play more of those essentially. And like, I mean, like the first time we played at Black Hat, that was one of our best shows like we've ever had, like sound wise, like crowd reaction wise. I mean, like we sold so much merch after that show.
Yeah.
And so I thought that's kind of what I think it is sometimes, that some bands I think they kind of have to like expand out a little bit more, maybe play to a crowd they on usual wouldn't play to. Because like, I mean, like we played with Myth Carver. They're like a traditional like heavy metal band. Love those dudes. Yeah. And of course, you know, knowing me and my power metal background, like I was like them and Eternal Champion are like, oh, those are like my favorite bands like in this state right now.
Right. You were picking up what they were putting down.
Yeah, and so like it's like, you know, it's like, yeah, we'll play a show with them, and it was a great turnout. You know, we sold quite a bit of merch and everything, like and you know, Blind Dogs took really good care of us and everything. So like, yeah, shout out Reese. So I think sometimes that's kind of just like with the situation is, it's just when you're doing it, who you're doing it with, and you know, you have to kind of like play the board a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because that is something that I think a lot of bands need to hear. It's kind of, I'm trying to remember who said it, but I remember somebody mentioning it sometime recently, that they said, well, if you've got, you know, your band and you're like focused on like trying to impress like older dudes, well then like I don't know what to tell you, because like I feel like, you know, once you get to a certain age, like your tastes are pretty set in stone, to where it's like, no, the kids are the ones that are going to be the most receptive to it. So it's something that like any band, you really need a younger fan base, and that's not trying to be like, oh, deathcore allegations, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want, you know, younger crowds to get into it.
Yeah, and then like, for example, I'm sure you're aware of Disdain.
Yeah.
Dude, like those guys, I remember the first time I saw them,
yeah, it was crushing.
Yeah, I was like, dude, these guys are young and they're good. They're good. Love those dudes. Like, they're our homies. And it, like, I was like, dude, like, it's crazy. It's like some of these kids pull up and they mosh hard at these shows and stuff. And so we were kind of like, man, maybe we should kind of play with these younger bands like quite a bit too. Like try to kind of like throw them on shows and stuff with us. Right. Because it's kind of like, you know, because it's kind of like, for example, like, you know, kind of like you were saying earlier with like the old dudes, like that quote and everything. I kind of completely agree with this. It's like, well, I mean, they aren't really going anywhere either, I guess. But